Hello, am I on? I can't hear anybody. Hello? I can hear, I'm not sure if you can hear me, but I can't hear you.
You.
Oh, there, now I can hear you.
Okay, wonderful.
Oh, wonderful. My apologies.
Not
I
at all.
see my presentation on the screen, so I'm guessing I'm on and I saw a chat.
Yeah. So you have 10 minutes, so feel free to go ahead anytime you're ready.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Thank you, and thank you for listening to our presentation. My name is Joanne Russo, and I am the chair of the Downtown Aurora BIA, and attached are my slides. So I'm going to be discussing the 2022 Aurora BIA budget and plan. So if I can get the next screen, please. The agenda for today is the 2021 accomplishments and budget recap, 2022 budget and business plan, 2022 plans, BIA website, along with the BIA coordinator. Next slide, please. There's been so many accomplishments for 2021. I'll just cover a few of the items, but one of our main focuses for 2021 was to improve and increase member engagement. We updated the BIA bylaw to enable improved avenues of communication for members. We updated the BIA members list. We updated and refreshed the BIA logo. We participated in the town's business survey, added 3 new board members, created a marketing committee. We created a budget and finance committee, released an RFP for a new member-focused BIA website. We became a member of the Ontario BIA Association, along with the Aurora Chamber of Commerce, and we supported the town's application for the new My Main Street grants. We began our member outreach events and to drive traffic down and awareness to the downtown BIA. We obtained support from the town, Magna as well, for the downtown window art program project. We also purchased a BIA branded event tent. We decorated Machel's Alley and the new downtown banners. We animated Machel's Alley with pop-up music in partnership with the Aurora Cultural Center, Chartwell residents, and local performing artists. We installed an Instagram selfie spot in Machel's Alley for the fall awareness. We supported the Aurora Chamber along with the Explore Aurora campaigns, and we launched a Halloween-themed spectacular campaign to promote the area, along with actively participating in the town's Saturday Night Fever on Yonge Street event. Next slide, please. Our 2021 budget recap. For 2021, our budget and our levy, the amount we intended to spend was $40,400. We had a carryover of $22,847, and this was a carryover for 2020. And the actual levy amount that was levied was $37,553. For 2021 year-end budget, our budget was $40,400. We spent $14,566. Our prepaid expenses were $7,392, with a total carryover of $18,442. The carryover committed for 2022, we have the $18,000 carryover, along with $10,000 allocated for our coordinator, $5,311 remaining to be paid for our website, with a reduced carryover balance of $3,131. Next slide, please. Our 2022 budget details. The administration cost of $9,000, which incorporates insurance, membership fees, website hosting, check bank fees, year-end and accounting fees. Our marketing social website, a total of $15,311. That incorporates the remaining $5,311 covered by a carryover for the website. Our contact member support, $10,000 budget, and that's for the ambassador coordinator contribution for a part-time person. Additional funding is being provided for the town, and we're requesting that the 10,000 be carryover for 2021. Materials and printing, $1,400. Events, we're hoping to events, and we can have discussions based on the next slide, but $20,000 has been allocated. Total budget of $15,711, less the carryover of $18,442. Requested funds $40,400, less the remaining carryover for 2021 of $3,131, for a total levy for 2022 being $37,269. Next slide, please. 2022 plans. Wonderful event and schedule planner for 2022. We've developed this calendar of events. There's so much being covered. Music in the alley between June to September. Bingo on Tuesdays. There's alley activations for the months of June, September. You can see the ongoing activation and events for various months, along with partnering events with the Chamber, the Canada Parade, the Street Party, along with the Rally and the Wellington events and the Santa Claus holiday. So we've sort of color coordinated them so that we can let members sort of understand what events are ongoing, so they can look it up on our website as well. Pop-up alleys include artisan, new businesses, mini festivals, activation programs, decoration options to decorate the street light bases, partner up with the town, and other events and dates to be added and confirmed. Next slide. The Bia Coordinator. This is to, we're hoping to engage someone so that we can connect and engage with each member, primarily contact for the BIA member list updates, send out communications and information, assist members with BIA and explore Aurora websites, update our website with information for members, and assist the board with meetings, minutes, etc., and also assist the board with social media and marketing. Next slide. I believe that's everything. Thank you. Hopefully I covered that in 10 minutes and I have enough time for any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Rousseau. So given that item 1 is about the BIA annual reports, let's just go right into that. Can someone move item number 1, please? Councillor Humphreys, seconded by Mayor Maracus. Any questions or comments for staff or for Ms. Rousseau? Councillor Gilman.
Thank you, through Mr. Chair, to I guess Ms. Rousseau. I was going through the financial statements, and I understand the website cost, and then I just kind of noticed at the bottom where the commitment was that there's an amount of $1,966 for monthly support services commencing January 1st, 2022. So does that mean that over and above, like once your website's up and running, that it's an additional, call it $2,000 a month in perpetuity? I'm just if you could just add some clarity to that.
Yes, actually, it's probably badly worded, but it's $145 monthly support services for a total annual cost of $1,966. I could see that the comments basically in the agreement includes a commitment in the amount of a total cost of $1,966 for monthly support services commencing January 1st. It's broken down to $145 a month.
Okay, thank you, because I was a little scared. Sorry.
Yeah.
I was a little scared by that cost because it didn't say the word total. So I was like, what?
Yes. I agree with you there. That's probably badly worded, but it's a total annual cost. Okay. And that's inclusive of HST.
Makes much more sense. Thank you. And puts me a lot more at ease.
Thank you.
Other question is that you have this lovely color coded chart, and while I think it's really wonderful that it's there, and maybe I'm missing something, but I'm just having if you could just explain how the colors line up to on the calendar, because I just don't see the color coding. Like for me, it's not making sense. So if I look at blue, I think June 11th, and I look and there's a lot of blue on Wednesdays. I see activation summer June in yellow, and the only yellow I see is June 19th. If that's just like one event, I'm just a little confused. Maybe there was some, maybe the colors didn't carry over in the slide, or maybe I'm just not reading it correctly.
Ms. Russo?
Yeah, thank you. That's a good question. I think this is more of a work in progress. It's not something that has been actually finalized. We wanted to put together a sort of an event schedule so that we can sort of articulate amongst the board, okay, this is sort of the ideas that we want to have in place. We can color coordinate them based on ongoing activities. So for example, on Thursday nights when there's music in the alley, we would use the color purple. So even though it's not a final, this was sort of more of a draft version, but not a final version.
Councilor Gillen?
Thank you. Excuse me, sorry. And will this calendar be something that the general public could look up on the BIA website? It'll be something they can click on, say, hey, what's going on in the BIA? And this calendar might pop up in this fashion, color coded
Yes.
or listed kind of thing. That's the intention?
Yes.
So,
Perfect. Thank you. And within the website as well, just to confirm, is it something that there would be like a back end so the members could add their own events, or is this something they would do through the town or the board? How would that work?
Ms. Russo?
I think that they would, that's a great question. I'm going to sort of recommend and propose that if anyone has any suggestions for events, that they would do it through the back end by sending us an email with regards to what sort of events they would like to see, and use the options of Explore Aurora as well, so that we could sort of see how we can fit that into our calendar based on unavailable dates that are available to sort of integrate whatever suggestions they might have.
Councilor Gillen?
Thank you. Okay, be interesting to see how that pans out, because obviously we want to have as much engagement as possible from the businesses themselves to post. If they were to have some sort of their own pop-up, that they would be able to kind of advertise that themselves just to kind of gain more traction.
Agreed.
Last question was about the new hire. I know this has been kind of like a topic of discussion over the course of the year and trying to get somebody hired. And I believe you had waited because you're hoping, I think I read in the report about a grant, but I don't think that we had gotten it, which is, it's fine. These things happen. I'm just glad we applied. How are we in that process? How are you in that process in getting somebody hired, and what's the ETA of when they're going to begin?
Ms. Russo?
I believe, and maybe Lisa, if I could sort of get you to sort of put your insight onto this, because I know you were involved in that as well. We are, the process is we have members that are sort of reviewing the applications that are being brought forward. And then ultimately the BIA board members would review the candidates that we feel are best suited for the position. And as a board member in a whole, we would ultimately make the decision factor as to who we feel is best suited for the position.
Councilor Gillen?
Thank you. And do you have like an ETA of when that position would commence? And maybe that's for, I don't know if it's for you or Ms. House, but do you have like an ETA of maybe the progress of the stages that we're at?
Ms. Russo?
I'm going to defer to Lisa on that one, because I believe, Lisa, that was sort of more of your involvement, and we're waiting for our update on that as a board.
Ms. House?
Great, thank you. You can hear me okay?
Yes.
Hear you.
Thank you. Great, and thank you, and through you, Mr. Chair, to Councilor Gillian. So the process right now has been waiting until this evening for budget approval. At that point, the town will commit the grant funds. The grant, as you mentioned, through My Main Street was not successful, but the board had asked if the town would still contribute the partnership amount that we were trying to get through the grant. So after this evening, the process is then to go out with the job application. We have 2 board members that have stepped up to be the interview panel and then present, as Joanne had mentioned, present the candidates to the board at that point. But we do have 2 members that will do the review.
Great.
Thank you, Councilor Gillan.
That's great. Thank you.
Thank you. I believe Councilor Gartner had a question online.
I didn't. Thank you.
No? Oh, okay. Okay. Mayor Maracus.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And Joanne, thank you very much for coming out this evening and going through the 2022 budget and the 2021 annual report. You know what, I always appreciate when you come forward and you kind of go into those details, because ultimately council's authority and direction is to approve a budget for you guys, and ultimately it's the board who under their discretion decides what they're going to do with those funds. And so I trust what you guys are going to do. I think what you guys have done in the past and what you continue to present to us and look at doing within the BIA to put on some great events that are going to enhance our downtown core and enhance the businesses in that area and help with the economic growth as we continue to move out of the pandemic, I think is going to be an extraordinary feat. And I think you guys are up to that task. And what I'm seeing that you've put forward looks like we're going to be heading there very soon. So I just wanted to thank you for all the work that you guys do, as well as the entire board at the BIA, as well as, the work that you guys have done through the pandemic. I know it hasn't been easy. It hasn't been easy for anyone, but you guys have done a tremendous job. When I look back at some of the things that we did last summer in partnership with all of you, I think it was extraordinary. I think some of the events, the one that I constantly think of is the one that we partnered with, and we did the on Yonge Street when we shut it down, and we had our Saturday Night Fever party. A lot of people were talking about that, and that was in the midst of a pandemic. And so I'm excited about what's to come this summer and beyond. And I look forward to all the work that the BIA continues to do. And you have the full support, I think, of this council and of the town behind you to continue to put on some extraordinary events. So thank you, and looking forward to all the work.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I really appreciate that. Feedback was wonderful.
Thank you, Mayor Maracus. Councilor Humphreys.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Joanne, and to the BIA committee, the board. I echo many of the comments around the table, and in particular, Mr. Mayor's. Some of the work that you've done during the toughest times that we've seen is incredible, and I'm really looking forward to the future. There's lots of great things that you're going to be doing to draw attention to downtown, to the local businesses in the area, and I'm just thrilled that you guys are plowing through with all the different changes in the environment to continue to help our businesses thrive as much as possible downtown with some of the things that you're working on. I saw something in the event calendar, something about an Elvis party, an Elvis event. I don't know if that was, if I saw correctly, but did I see that in your calendar and you're allowed to share? I know that Collingwood had a very successful Elvis festival for many years, drawing thousands of people, but I don't know if that's something you're thinking of or
yeah, we're looking for so many great ideas. And to go back to the earlier comment made by our mayor, the event that we held back on Yonge Street was such a success, Saturday Night Fever. So we're up for obtaining any suggestions and recommendations to have such an excellent event again. And it may be the Elvis event. So it brought a lot of people to the downtown core. So up for suggestions.
No, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I know that evening, that event was incredible. And I had people from, came from Brampton, Oakville, Orangeville, Cookstown. They were people just really excited to get out, and they heard about it. And I know I had some friends and family that came from Kitchener. They really enjoyed the event as well. So again, thank you for everything. I know I highlight that event, but many things, and your membership being, growing as well, your communication and those things that we get better at and improve as you go along. So thank you again very much for everything you're doing, the whole BIA board, all the subcommittees, all the hard work, and to Lisa, because I believe Ms. House has done a lot of great work to help guide and support the BIA as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilor Sandra. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Humphreys. And I see Councilor Gardner's hand up.
Thank you, Councillor Kim. I had a little surgery today. I'm not quite with it, but I would be remiss not to thank you so much, Joanne, Ms. Russo. I think back to the very first meeting in the council chamber, and it was an interesting start, but I couldn't have envisioned everything that you've done and the board has done. And it's very special. It adds to our community. And I would like to thank you very much and all of the people who've helped to accomplish all this.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. I'm so happy to hear all the positive feedback, because I know as a board, we've worked really hard to get to where we are today. So, and I only foresee great things happening. So your support is greatly appreciated.
Thank you. And I guess my comments would be thank you very much, Joanne, for your contributions. You're one of the first in the BIA, and I know you've had a lot of help, and we have a lot of tremendous BIA members, so I want to thank them as well. Similar to the Economic Development Board, BIA has come a long way from its initiation to where it is today. So thank you very much for the hard work, and I'm looking forward as well to all the activities that's on the agenda for this year. If there are no further questions or comments, I'll call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That passes. Thank you, Joanne.
Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful evening.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Okay, we'll move on to item 9.2, applications for official plan amendment, zoning bylaw amendment and site plan control, 2766872 Ontario Inc., 15296, 15306, and 15314 Yonge Street. Can I have a mover, please? Mayor Marakis, seconded by Councillor Humphreys. I love to read. Questions or comments? Councillor Gardner.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have to say that I'm not in favor of this. I think there are too many unresolved issues, in particular the stormwater management. So I'll be voting against.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Gardner's. Any other comments or questions? Councillor Gilliland.
Thank you. I just wanted to make a comment about the proposed traffic and the fact that I know that we had some issues before about traffic and where it was going. So I'm just trying to get to my notes here. And, I realize that one of the issues is that you can't have a traffic light at Irwin and Wellington just because it's such close proximity to Wellington. And, my suggestion was, well, maybe Machel Alley would be, not Machel Alley's, Machel. everything's Machel Alley now. Machel and Wellington would, be a good place to have that light. I just know that making that right-hand turn, it's going to be literally impossible. I can foresee that down the road. And while I do think that, it's good development and such, I just don't see any change whatsoever from the last time we had a public meeting or any council input about the traffic concerns. And if the region is the one that's responsible, I really do think we need to advocate for this. And I'm just curious to you, Mr. Chair, to staff, are we advocating to the region on this, or is there something that we can do, or has there been any conversation? Because I just foresee this being a complete disaster from anybody that's in that building trying to get to the 404 or the GO train if they needed to park there from this condo.
Mr. Rumino.
Through you, Mr. Chair, to Councilor Gillian. So as part of our review, we have our engineering staff have looked at the application and the traffic reports that were submitted. And information from those reports in our review indicate that the proposed development will will operate at acceptable levels, and there is capacity on those surrounding roads to accommodate this traffic. Signalization, so no road improvements are required, nor are traffic signals warranted at either Irwin or Young. I mean, there's issues there because of the offset with Catherine Avenue just to the north, and the distance between the existing Young signalization, and similarly at Machel and Wellington. However, there are two routes in and out, full move access points to accommodate the development. So from a traffic standpoint, there aren't any issues.
Councillor Gilliland?
I recall, and perhaps Mr. Ramono, you weren't here, but Ms. House was, I had made some comments about, was there some plans to look into perhaps extending Machel Ave up to connect through to Aurora Heights, which would go through the town lands there. And perhaps that would direct patrons or vehicles to an actual light that they could utilize. And at that time, it was something that was like, we'll look into that and see. So I'm just curious as to whether or not that was something that was considered.
Mr. Ramuno?
Through you, Mr. Chair, to my knowledge, it didn't inform our decision or our recommendation to council on this application. It's certainly something that we can continue to explore in the future. But with respect to the development application, the existing access points are sufficient to accommodate the proposed development. Councillor Gilliland?
Thank you. I guess maybe a question through you, Mr. Chair, to Mr. Mayor. You're at the region, and is there any specific criteria as far as lights and distance, or at the region? Would they make exceptions? Could we advocate for a light there if it made sense? If I could just have your input, that would be great.
Mr. Mayor?
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, the region does have distance requirements when it comes to any signalized intersections, but also, ultimately they look at it from an, they're engineers, they're experts. They look at it from that perspective, and they look at all the traffic counts, the warrant, does it meet the warrants? And they go from there. We've long advocated for many signalized intersections. As you all know, we've there's many of them that we've advocated for. I've advocated at the region for many of them. This one in general, especially with the intersection of Yonge and Wellington, we've looked at many different ways and configurations that we could make the intersection more appealing to traffic flow. But ultimately, a lot of the things that get put forward, whether it's a signalized intersection at Machel and Young, it's one that from the expert's opinion, from the engineers and the traffic analysts, that it's not warranted at this time, and that's the constant theme that we're hearing from the region at this time.
Councillor Gilliland?
Thank you, and I hope we can continue to advocate for that, and definitely perhaps maybe looking at extending to Aurora Heights. I think that could be a viable solution to safely exit, because I can foresee that there's going to be an issue. And it's disappointing to me that it meets all the traffic requirements for this development. If they're checking, all the boxes and crossing their T's and dotting their I's, it's very hard for me to argue about not being in favor of the application. But I am disappointed that, I can foresee there's going to be a traffic problem. So if there's a way that I can advocate it for solutions aside from this development to mitigate that, I would definitely we'll look into that. Other question was on page 17 of the report. It says to assist planning staff met with the adjacent property owner to discuss the merits of this approach. This was like the neighbors that had flooding. At this writing report, the applicant indicated they will contact the resident to discuss the concern, and when additional information is available on this matter, it can be confirmed to general committee. So I was just wondering if, I'm so sorry, not the flooding. This was in regarding the sorry, I can't speak today. The resident with the head beam lights and the impact of the lights going into the resident's home, and they were going to talk about doing some landscaping to mitigate that impact. And I was wondering what the result of those conversations were, if that was handled or not.
Mr. Ramuno?
Through you, Mr. Chair, yes, that's our understanding that the applicant is willing to even install some landscaping screening, planting on the neighbor's property across the street. We've notified all interested parties of the report proceeding to council, the GC this evening. My understanding is that the applicant and the owner have agreed to a solution with respect to the landscaping on the owner's property.
Councillor Gilliland.
Perfect. Thank you. I just wanted to make sure that that was satisfied and everybody's happy with that. As far as the drainage, so I'm going there, and I understand that there has been some mitigation and everything has been cemented up in regards to the pipe that was there and broken. Has there been any other discoveries other than this one that may cause any future problems, or do we feel it all that's been remedied?
Mr. Rumuno.
Through you, Mr. Chair. No, we think that those issues have been addressed. The region found a clogged or unclogged a storm sewer along Wellington, I guess this past fall, and then the applicant dealt with a clogged storm drain on the subject property.
Councillor Gilliland.
Thank you. Perfect. Thank you. So that's pretty much the base of my question. My only suggestions and ask would be, because I know it's a little late down the road, but I do like to advocate for more green infrastructure. So considering we are kind of in watery areas, if they're open to putting more permeable surfacing around, that would be something that would be definitely a great thing to do for the community and the surrounding homes, and also in support of green initiatives. That would be fantastic, over and above the bicycles that they plan on, storage that they plan on providing. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Gilliland. Any other comments or questions? If there are no more further comments or questions, I'll call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? Okay, that passes. Item number 3, train whistle cessation. Can I have a mover, please? Mayor Marakis, and you would like to speak on that right now?
Mr. Chair, I was going to ask that some information has come in. So if everyone can bear with me, I would ask that we refer this to the May meeting GC. And if I could get a seconder, I'll speak to why on the referral. Okay. Refer back to staff.
Okay, I see Councillor Gardner's hand up to second.
Thank you. So, Mr. Chair, you know, we've long advocated to the region in regards to the liability. Liability has been the issue that has been holding us back on this as far as back as I can remember. At no point does anyone in this room want to put liability on our town, on our residents, where an accident could occur and the town could be liable for anything that could occur. With that being said, we've advocated long and hard with the region and with all levels of government that shouldn't be the issue. Metrolink should either hold the liability or it should be one of the other levels of government. At the last minute, at 3 o'clock today, I believe staff have heard back from the region that the region is willing to take on the liability. And if that is the case, I see Mr. Cesario is going to correct me a little bit, but if that is the case, then we should refer this back to staff so we can get all the details that we need and make sure that we have everything that we need to make a proper decision on this, instead of just, because right now the way the report stands, I know that all of us feel the same way, or at least most of us feel the same way, that if the liability still falls onto the town, that it's a no. It's not about, obviously we want to create a safe environment. We want to be, you know, I would say the funds are not the issue. We can fit it within our budget. We can develop the mazes. We can do all that stuff, and we can still do that. But to remove the whistle and liability falls on us, that's a no-go, because we can't put the town in that type of a position. Our job, we sign an oath when we take office, is not to bring any harm to the municipality, and so that is bringing harm to the municipality. But if circumstances have changed where the region is willing to take that on, that responsibility, then let's get that information, make sure what that information is, the correct information, and let's make a decision at that time.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So we're not going to be taking any more comments tonight. So are we? I thought we're going to just refer it back to staff. Okay. Okay. Councilor Humphreys, speak to the referral.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. No, appreciate that new information. And it's interesting, two things. One of the residents that I believe there's some flyers around close to the train track sent out asking us to really pay attention and see what we can do. Because as the frequency of the trains, it's going to be something we're going to hear constantly. So everybody wants to help in that perspective. But as you said, Mr. Mayor, we don't want to put any undue harm on the town. But they did understand that Markham had some sort of support from whether it's the region or Metrolinx to take on that liability. I could be wrong, but that's what some of the residents were sharing with me. So if that's something that we can help, maybe through Mr. Mayor, Ms. Rosario can help answer that. If I know we're just having just a deferral, because if that's the case, then I'm looking forward to this coming back with the most latest information.
Mr. Serio?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I apologize. I just want everyone to understand that this is just for the regional roads. So
Yeah.
anything on town-owned land, town land roads, it would be. Okay.
It's fair. That's fair. Thank you so much. That's great. That's excellent. And I'm still looking forward to the report coming back. We can still do further analysis on exactly what our liabilities are when we look at it from that perspective. And I believe it does change the scenario a lot. For certain intersections, maybe the horn, the train horn. My husband laughs when I say whistle because that was in the 1800s. Then it's a horn now. Anyway, the train horn when we can have it stop in certain areas and go where it hopefully least disturbs residents. So, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Appreciate that latest and greatest info.
Thank you, Councilor Humphreys. Councilor Gardner.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, with respect to the region's liability, in 2009, they updated their anti-train whistling policy. And at that time, in 2009, we knew that the region for all regional road crossings, so that'd be St. John's and Wellington, were taking on full liability, responsibility, and costs. So I'm not sure why that isn't reflected in our report tonight or in the previous report. But that has been going on for a long time. With respect to liability, when the report comes back, I did have an opportunity to speak to someone in the mayor's office in Markham, and they spoke with their treasurer. And they do not have a dedicated, they call it a whistle cessation fund. They do not have one of those. And they said that should there ever be an accident or a claim, the city would be going through their insurance policy. So I think when the report comes back, we should clarify how Markham has done it. And yes, they were able to do this for a very reasonable amount because the region paid a lot of the cost. So when the report comes back through you, Mr. Chair, to whoever would be doing it, the figures for Aurora actually would be $254,000 for the municipal safety audit and for the 2 maze barriers at, and we may want to add Cousins to that, but for at Center and Engelhard, that would only total $46,000. So I think there could be a correction to this report that Aurora's cost would be $254,000 plus the $46,000. That comes to $300,000, which in the scheme of things for safety and quality of life is relatively a very small amount. And I'd also like to add that we have a lot of liability now should an accident happen. So I think we would want to update our safety at those crossings. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Gardner. Councilor Gilliland.
Thank you. I had a few questions on here, and I think Councillor Gartner had spoke to that about speaking to the city of Markham. And I remember asking staff to come back and report back after speaking with other municipalities and how they did it, specifically Markham. And in the report, it says staff reached out, but hasn't received any comment to date. So I'm just curious as to like, why haven't we received any comment to date? So I'm just like, I mean, this is great that Councillor Gartner had gotten some answers, but I think we all kind of want to know. So through you, Mr. Chair, to staff.
You know, we're speaking to the referral. So, you know, we're going to have lots of time to handle these questions when the staff report comes back to us. So if we can just speak to the referral for tonight, that'd be great.
So is this like, okay, so this is like an amendment to the what's on the floor. Okay, so as far as the referral, because it doesn't specify regional roads, I just kind of want to know, is this like, are we also addressing the town roads? And this, is this just an added amendment? Because it's like, there's still Center Street, which is right in the middle of our town, which I think we need to address. I don't think this is specifically all just regional roads that we need to address. So are we just not addressing Center Street?
Can any staff answer that question, Mr. Ramuno?
Certainly through you, Mr. Chair. No, we will be addressing not only the regional roads, but the local roads, Center and Englehart as well.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Gillen?
Thank you. So with this referral and we move forward, we can also ask questions again afterwards then?
When the staff report comes back to us, yes.
I still have some comments to this report that's on the floor. So I'd like to be able to ask a few things to staff.
Well, the motion is to refer back to staff. And that's all we're speaking to tonight, given the new information that we have.
Right. Okay, I just heard some other questions that were asked about insurance and stuff like that, and I wanted to ask the same ones. Clearly, now is not the time, but for others, maybe it is. I don't know. I had a lot to ask tonight, so I guess I'm just a little disappointed.
I mean, it's just that, I mean, given the new information, I mean, these questions can be, you know, null and void given new information that will be coming to staff and to the town. Well, I believe that given the new turn of events, this report may be pretty well obsolete. Mayor Marks, did you want to comment?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I'm just to the referral. We've been doing this for a long time. When you refer something, you speak to the referral. You don't speak to the report. I do want to commend you as chair for giving some latitude, although I was ready to call a point of order because we did stray a little bit too much. But we're supposed to be speaking to the referral. When this comes back, we'll have a very long and I'm sure drawn out conversation in regards to this report, and council as a whole will make a decision that is the right decision for our community with the proper information.
Given that Councillor Gardner had a tough day, I wanted to give her a little bit of latitude on her questions.
Mr. Chair, I think we're allowed to speak to the referral in what we would like to see to come back in the report. That's what I was trying to do. Thank you. Thank you, Councillor.
Well, you still have a second opportunity, Councillor Gillen, if you want to inquire about what you would like to see. Yeah, Councillor Gillen.
Thank you. I'm happy to speak to what I would like to see. So I'd like to see some conversation with Markham to understand what the liability is. And I'd like to be able to see if what the cost of the liability is. I think we all have that when we drive a vehicle in case we're in an accident and death were to occur. I would like to see any conversations that may have occurred with Metrolinx in relation to if that isn't feasible to whether or not they're willing to reduce the horn sounds from 8 to 4 between Wellington and Center Street, given the fact they're very close proximity. And the requirement is, I believe, 4 per crossing. So I'd like to see if that conversation, could be had. And also, I would like to see whether or not there's some cost sharing opportunities. From what I understand, Markham had some cost sharing opportunities to support their project. And so that is something that I would like to see in the next report as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Gilliland. So I'll call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That passes. Moving along to 9.4, municipal tree removal request for 152 Willis Drive. Can someone put that on the floor, please? Councillor Humphreys. Seconded by Councillor Humphreys. Oh, Councillor Gardner. Great. Any questions or comments? Councillor Gardner. You're on mute, Councillor Gardner.
I do, thank you. I do thank the resident for approaching council about this, and I thank council for agreeing to have a report back. And it's very clear, unfortunately, that we can't help this resident. And I'm sorry about that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Gardner. Councillor Humphreys.
To you, Mr. Chair, thank you very much. Councillor Gardner said it all. I mean, I completely understand the residents' concerns and understand, what they're hoping for. But at the end of the day, this becomes quite a challenge for other residents who may want to do the same thing. And we've got a canopy already that exists in many other areas. And it looks like we have a similar tree, 16 properties with the same species and 210 throughout the entire town. And in addition, the tree's healthy. So at this point, I have to support the staff recommendation. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Humphreys. Any other questions or comments? If not, I'll call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That passes. Next item, financial system project update. Can I have a mover, please? Mayor Marakis, seconder, Councillor Humphreys. Questions or comments? Okay. No questions or comments. I'll call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That passes. Okay, next item is 9.6, town-owned light standards for displaying banner flags at St. Andrews College. Can I have the mover, please? Councillor Gilliland, seconded by Councillor Humphreys. Questions or comments? Councillor Gardner.
Thank you. In my opinion, these banner signs on the town-owned light standards abutting St. Andrews College could be classified as advertising. And I spoke to this when it came to us many years ago, and I continue to be opposed because we don't allow any other businesses in town to have this kind of an advantage. So I think it's inappropriate.
Thank you, Councillor Gardner. Any other comments or questions? Okay, call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That passes. Oh. Thanks, Councillor Gardner. Next item, 9.7, application for draft plan of condominium. Can I have a mover for that, please? Mayor Maracus, and seconded by Councillor Gilliland. Any comments or questions on that? Councillor Gilliland? Oh, sorry, Councillor Gardner, sorry.
Thank you. I'd like some clarification, please. Under the, excuse me, under the climate change considerations section, it says the applicant is applying design elements that mitigate the impact on GHG emissions. And these are some of the ways. Designing the building using supplies that use in the infrastructure green building practices in their production. I didn't say that correctly. Designing the buildings using supplies that used green building practices in their production. I know we're in a gray area here and we're really trying hard with climate change considerations, but that's very vague. And I'd like to know how that helps the town with our goals on our climate consideration.
Mr. Ramuno?
Through you, Mr. Chair. Certainly, I think this would also have been addressed at the site plan stage, but we have our green development standards, and there's a long list of items that need to be checked off by the applicant in consultation with staff. And so we've listed a number of these being sort of the recycling methods with respect to the bins that they're using, some of the landscaping materials, part of the southern area of the building that will be left naturalized. And I believe there's also some green building materials being used in the actual construction of the building, which is ongoing as we speak.
Follow up through you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Romano, I didn't have a chance to be in touch with you about this. So I'd like a translation for, in quotes, using suppliers that use green building practices in their production. If you could just try and expand on that a bit for the council meeting, I would appreciate it. I also have a question to Mr. Downey. Mr. Downey, are you here?
He's there.
Thanks. What they're going to, under this section also, it's called using MOLOK bins, M-O-L-O-K bins, to promote recycling. Those kind of bins are just basically, well, they're not visible above the surface. They're below grade bins, and they're quite an interesting shape. So I'm wondering if this kind of bin can be picked up by the town, if we even have the kind of equipment that would pick up this, or if they're going to be going to private companies to pick up the recycling. And how would we even know if this recycling was just going to be garbaged or not? I mean, if it comes to the town, we have some control, but this to me is a very gray area. And I'd like some more information on that, unless Mr. Downey, as you often do, have it at your fingertips.
Mr. Downey?
So, through Mr. Chair, and good evening. So this will be a private pickup. We only pick up standard blue bins and garbage. If the applicant wishes to collect their waste in any other fashion, they must do that at their cost.
Thank you. So how do you think this kind of a bin would promote recycling? I mean, do you have any idea what that might mean, how that would happen?
Mr. Downey?
Through Mr. Chair, my personal opinion is I don't believe it does promote recycling, only because there is no visibility of the material that's in there. it would be a concern. And contamination levels are a concern at the manufacturing plant, but I don't believe that this is necessarily in the best interest of recycling, but rather an alternative way to deal with waste for this particular development.
Thank you, Mr. Danny. That really was what I was believing as well. So, Mr. Ramuno, could you also perhaps address this for our council meeting? Thank you. I understand we're on a learning curve here, but I think it's very important to have whatever is written in this section to try and ensure that I imagine this is coming from the people who are doing the development. So I think it's very important for them to understand that we're serious about this. And, you know, we need to ensure that they're serious. Thank you.
Thanks, Councilor Gardner. Any other questions or comments? If there are none, I'll call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That passes. Last item, 9.8, heritage permit application. Someone like to move that, please? Councilor Gilliland, seconded by Councilor Humphreys. Comments or questions, please? Councilor Gardner.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I guess to Mr. Ramuno. Mr. Ramuno, thank you for your email answering my questions. When I looked at the design, it really looks like it takes up more than 35% of the lot. The other thing, but you said it doesn't. The other thing is that from what's there and to what they want to do, it looks pretty large on the lot with respect to the side borders to the neighboring property. In the R7 zone, I thought there was a wider, I think you said 1.5 is required. When I looked at the zoning bylaw, I thought it said a wider boundary between the neighboring homes.
Mr. Ramuno.
Through you, Mr. Chair. No, you're correct, Councilor Gardner. For the R7 zone permits a number of different housing types. Detached, it permits duplexes, triplexes, and fourplexes. So the 1.5 meter side yard applies to a single detached dwelling. And there is a larger side yard setback if you're proposing a triplex or a fourplex. I don't have that in front of me, but I think it's up to 2.5 or 3 meters, 2.5 side yard setback if you're proposing a fourplex. But in this case, they're adding an addition, they're demolishing a garage, they're adding an addition, it's a single detached dwelling, and they do comply with the R7 setbacks and all the zoning provisions.
Thank you. I that wasn't clear to me when I looked at the R7 in the zoning bylaw. Thank you. I'll have another look. Thank you.
Any further comments or questions? I'll call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That passes. We have 2 notices of motion that we will discuss in council next Tuesday. And that leads us to item 11, which is our regional report. Council highlights of March 24, 2022. Can I have a mover, please? Mayor Marakis, and seconded by Councilor Gilliland. Comments or questions? Councilor Gilliland.
Thank you. A lot of great stuff in this report. And I like the new layout as well. It's a lot easier to read. I don't know if anybody's noticed, but it is quite great. I just wanted to kind of draw the attention to the 2022 Draft Master Transportation Plan update. It's something that really caught my eye. I did a post about it earlier. They are having another public session about this update. That's going to be happening this April. Go to york.ca/TMP. Please give your feedback. I'm consistently advocating for, more bike trails or bike paths or multi-unit pathways, especially on Wellington, to connect from the east and west, from Bathurst to Bayview. And if there was any time to advocate further, is that one thing I do have these public sessions as an opportunity for the public to speak or give feedback. I encourage the public to do so. So that is something that is happening this April 21st on Thursday, and you can register at the York Region site, like I was saying, york.ca/TMP. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Gillen. Any other questions or comments? Okay, I'll call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That passes. So that brings us to new business. I will start online with Councillor Gardner.
Thank you. I was wondering when we were going to have the next update on our pending list.
Okay, I believe our clerk can answer that question. Mr. Clerk.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair. The pending list has become an annual document to council, but we'll certainly put one on before this term of council ends.
Councillor Gardner.
Thank you. Could it be before September?
Through you, Mr. Chair, September at the latest. That's our last GC meeting with this council anyways. So.
Thank you. We might be a lame duck council, but I doubt that, but so maybe a moot point in September. Also, is there any update on the retaining wall servicing Underhill Crescent and Ridgewood Court?
Could answer that question is Mr. Downey or Mr. Rumuno?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I'll have to look into that and report back to council.
Thank you.
Is that it, Councillor Gardner?
That's it, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Gilliland. New business? No? Councillor Humphreys? No? Mr. Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you to Mr. Downey. Mr. Downey, just wondering, just maybe if we can get it out there, because I do, under public service announcement, am speaking about the LED and the moths. I'm just wondering if you could let us know when the burlaps will be available. You can give us maybe those times.
Mr. Downey?
So through Mr. Mayor, so LDD, the new name is Spongy Moth?
Yes, Spongy Moth.
It's okay. We have our community cleanup this weekend, and the following weekend, we are handing out the burlap at the Joint Operations.
Thank you.
That's the 30th, I believe, is the date.
Thank you. And if you could just send out a reminder to council, just so that we can get the word out as well.
Certainly, I was actually speaking to the communications manager today about that, and they're going to be getting some information out, but I'll be happy to send out something to council.
Very good. Thank you very much, Mr. Downey. That's all, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Okay, that brings us to public service announcements, and I'll go into the same order. Councillor Gardner.
Thank you. I don't have anything.
Councillor Gilliland.
Hello, thank you. Yeah, I was going to speak to the LED, but I'm glad that was already spoken about, which is great. There is a free webinar on Wednesday, April the 20th through the Toronto Region Conservation Authority. It's absolutely informative. I encourage you to check it out and register. You can ask questions. You'll learn a lot. We also have this information on our website, aurora.ca/LDD, a ton of information. We also have the cleanup day that's happening this Saturday. So if you can get out there and help us out, that would be great. You can register at cleanup@aurora.ca, and it's also in partnership with the Aurora Arboretum. They've got a cleanup day as well. So this is really exciting. I'm glad that the collab has happened. And in addition to that, they've organized a garlic mustard pull on April the 30th. So check out their websites, their Arboretum, Town of Aurora, and the Toronto Region Conservation Authority for some great information. And always look at what's going on at the Aurora Cultural Center, since we have a lot of new stuff that's happening that's live and fun and entertaining. And we also have the art show happening up in the Skylight Gallery.
Thank you, Councillor Gilliland. Councillor Humphreys.
Two things. One, on April the 28th, you may want to mark your calendars. There's a wine and cheese event benefiting Abuse Hurts. It is it's Aurora. My goodness, please forgive me. The title of the event just escaped me, but it's all proceeds are going to Abuse Hurts. It's at the Rose Museum, right on Yonge Street. And everything that you can purchase that evening, there's clothes, accessories, purses, nothing over $10. So it's going to be a wonderful evening. So hope you can make it between 6 and 8 p.m. April the 28th. And that's it for now. My next one will be for next week. So thank you very much.
Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a few. First of all, Councillor Humphreys did an excellent Vogue pose at the there with the mannequins. So as if anyone hasn't seen that picture, take a look. It's actually quite fun. It's back in partnership with the Society of York Region Artists is the Aurora Art Show and Sale. Obviously through the pandemic, we haven't had it, but it is back. So April 30th and May 1st at the Aurora Town Hall. If you are an art enthusiast, you must come. There'll be over 300 pieces of artwork throughout the town hall. And for more information, you can visit aurora.ca/art show. It's a great event. End up showing up in my tux and we say a few words. We do an opening, and we actually we pick a piece of art that stays within the town hall every year. And so, as I said, this is the first year that it's back in person. So it's great to see that things coming back, and it's great to see this event come back to the town hall. And if anyone that is interested in electric vehicles, May 1st, visit the Stronach Aurora Recreation Complex, and you'll be able to see a variety of electric vehicles. You'll be able to test drive some of the latest models, talk to the owners about their experience driving electric vehicles. And for more information on that, you can visit aurora.ca/EV showcase. And Mr. Chair, I do last one. It is back as well, the Aurora Home Show. This weekend, Saturday and Sunday. You know what? Get out. It's a great time to support our local businesses, but also see what our local businesses have that can help you, modify your home, upgrade your home. There's so many things in there, and it's great to meet all the owners and employees of local businesses in our community. The Chamber do a tremendous job putting this event on, and it's free admission. I know you all don't know that I don't like the word free because someone's paying for it somewhere, but in this case, it's free. It's free admission. So get on out. It's a great way to get out there with the family as well. There'll be lots of entertaining things as well within there. So get on out and support our local businesses. And I'm looking forward to seeing everyone at that event as well as the Aurora Community Cleanup event. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We have no closed session items, so we have a motion to adjourn. Okay, moved by Councillor Gilliland, second by Councillor Humphreys. All those in favor? Opposed? That passes.